Hello everyone, I'm Carmen from the Featherweight Shop. Today I want to show you how to take your motor off of your Singer Featherweight. Now you may be asking, why would I need to remove the motor from my Singer Featherweight? For normal servicing, there wouldn't be any reason to remove the motor. But we get a lot of motors sent to us here in the shop for repair, either for servicing or a complete rewind. And it's much cheaper to send just the motor. It's also safer to send just the motor than to have the expense and risk of sending the whole machine. So I'm going to show you how to take this motor off of here, and it's really pretty simple. So whether you have a black featherweight like this one, or a 222, the free arm version of the featherweight, or even the tan featherweight or the white one, the good news is the motors generally all come off the same way. The motor is mounted to the machine by just one large screw here, and we use the large safety Vera screwdriver for that. And in this case, you would go ahead and take that screw completely out. And once that screw is removed, the motor is now loose on the machine. So you can see here it's no longer connected with this bracket, and it's just loose. Once it's loose, you can simply roll the belt off of the pulley and set the belt aside. Now that it's loose, we want to be fairly gentle with the motor because these wires are quite old and we don't want to cause them any undue stress. So we're not going to pull on it or anything like that. We're just going to be kind of gentle. I do have a towel here on the table to protect both the painted surface and the table as well from any grease. And the next thing we're going to do once the motor is loose is to loosen the bakelite receptacle here on the machine. It's held on by just this one screw here, and we use the long Vera screwdriver to remove that screw. And once that screw is completely loose, we're going to just gently pull out on the receptacle just a bit. Get the screw out of there, set it aside as well. And then at this point in time, we're going to support the motor with our hand and lay the machine onto its back. Once the machine is on its back, we will remove this large thumb nut here that holds the drip pan on. So the drip pan will come right off, and we'll set it aside. Now this one right here has got a drip, an old oily drip felt here, and those can be replaced quite easily. And now we have exposed the wires underneath the machine. Okay, here's a motor that's already been taken off of a machine, and you can see here that it has two wires, and these two wires go through a hole in the back of the machine and to the back side of this receptacle that we've just taken loose. This clamp right here is what is holding those two wires from the motor in place, and so we're going to remove that now. And we'll set this clamp and the little screw aside as well. And now the motor wires are only connected to the back of this and nothing else. And you can follow these two wires and see which wire nut is holding them on. But I'll also show you another way. So we're going to turn the machine back over. You can see here on the back of the receptacle there's three wire nuts, and there's also a yellow dot and a red dot here. And the way I remember this is that the yellow dot, yellow being for light, like the sun, and so this one right here is for the light. So we don't have to loosen that one at all. But we're going to take both of these two off here, the red one and then the one in the center. Now, if by chance these are very hard to get off, that someone has over tightened them, what you can do is use a pair of like pliers. Fortunately, these were pretty loose on here, but you can use a pair of pliers and put a piece of cloth over the jaws just to keep it from scratching or damaging these wire nuts here. Or once the wire nuts are removed, then you can just pop the wires right off. Now we'll turn the machine over again. So now if we follow these two wires right here, the two wires that were underneath that clamp, we can gently fish them out here. And there we go. These two wires are now loose, and so we're going to turn the machine back over again. So now with the machine balanced here so that we can work from the top and below, we're going to just fish these two wires just gently back out through the bottom of the machine as we gently separate the motor from the machine. Now the motor is completely off and it's ready to be serviced. Okay, so the good news is if you have to take your motor off your Featherweight, they all come off of the machine in generally the same way. All motors are held on by just one motor mount screw, just like this one here. That's the one that we loosen with the safety screwdriver. And then they all have some sort of a shield around the two wires. The black one happens to be this kind here that's a cloth covered, and it kind of is kind of messy. On this tan one here, it's actually kind of like a vinyl tubing, but they all are the same in that they're held on by the one screw, and then the two wires together go through the opening in the machine. Now, as far as differences beyond that, with the white machine and the tan, they're not that much different, but I'll go ahead and show you just the little differences between each one. So this tan one, you're going to remove the motor from it the same way as the previous one that we demonstrated. And here I have the Featherweight 222. It's the free arm Featherweight. It's got a smaller drip pan, but it comes off, held on by just that one nut. But then underneath there's usually this metal plate that's held on by these two screws. And once you remove it, you can get to the receptacle there. Okay, and when you remove this metal piece here, there's often this fiber, this like paper cover that covers the wires right there, but then it exposes the receptacle. At that point in time, it's the same as the other one, just the one screw loosens the receptacle so you can get those wires off. And the only difference between this is on these UK versions, the receptacle often does not have these Bakelite wire nuts that you take off with your fingers, but it has brass ones. And you can see they've got a little slot in them. So usually I put the Vera screwdriver just in one half of the slot and start spinning it, counterclockwise, and take it off the same way. And then this 221K here with the light switch up on top has a little plate underneath, similar to the 222. Okay, and this plate is held on by two screws, one here, and then the other one right here. And once that plate is removed, everything else looks just the same. And then the only one that is truly different is the motor for the white Featherweight. Of course, it is held on the same way with just that single screw that mounts the motor to the machine. And then the wires go through the same hole in the back of the machine. But the difference is, because this is hardwired, there's no receptacle to plug your machine in. Those wires are hardwired in. And so they do require that the wires be snipped loose in order to get the motor free. So you follow the same two wires that come from the motor, and then we use a pair of strong wire cutters, and we cut it as close to the end of the little wire cap here so that we don't lose very much of the wire, and there's still plenty to work with once we go to put it together. But you will have to get new pinch wire caps in order to put it all back together. Okay, when you're putting your machine back together, it's pretty simple when you put the motor back on. There's these two wires, the two wires here on the motor, and it does not matter, because this is AC current, it does not matter which wire goes to which post that you're putting it on, so you don't have to keep track of that. It's real simple. And then on page 27 in the service manual, there's wiring diagrams. It shows you where the wires go for the white machine, since they're hardwired. Also the Featherweight with the light switch up on top, and then the ordinary one with the light switch down on the bed of the machine. Well, I do hope this was helpful. If you have any questions on wiring of the machine and your motor, just give us a call here at the Featherweight Shop, or send us an email, chat with us on Facebook. We're always glad to help. Have a great day.